Good evening. The following is a live broadcast for the City of Kingsport Board of Mayor and Aldermen. Board meetings are regularly scheduled on the first and third Tuesdays of each month at 7 p.m. In advance of the BMA meeting, a copy of the agenda is available for inspection at the Kingsport Public Library, City Hall, or online at kingsporttn.gov.
Okay. Good evening. Welcome to the Kingsport Board of Mayor and Alderman business meeting. I'll remind our audience this is the meeting where we deliberate and vote. Today is Tuesday, November 16th. The first order of business would be to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation. First, one of our city attorneys, Mr. Bart Rollette, will lead us in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. If you'll remain standing, Mr. Ken Calvert, pastor, will lead us in the invocation.
I'll invite you to join us as we pray together. Heavenly Father, we stand now in acknowledgement that you have given us life, liberty, and the pursuit of justice. You've given us freedom. You've given us a heart that can run from, you've given us love that can run from heart to heart and from breast to breast. You filled us with your peace, and yet we have a concern for our great community called Kingsport. Let your will be done, even during this business session, dear Lord, where the lives of all the citizens of Kingsport can be enriched, encouraged, and empowered. This is our evening prayer. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend, and thank you also for your service as our chair of the 911 Board.
Thank you, sir.
Please be seated. Madam Recorder, please call the roll.
Mayor Scholl.
Here.
Vice Mayor George.
Here.
Alderman Cooper.
Here.
Alderman Duncan.
Here.
Alderman Montgomery. Alderman Alterman.
Present.
Alderman Phillips.
Here.
Thank you. By my reckoning, 6 of our 7 members are present, which is more than a quorum. And Mr. City Manager, please proceed.
Okay, we have 2 recognitions on the agenda tonight, and the first one is a recognition of Dr. Mickey Spivey, and Alderman Phillips will be conducting that.
All right. Thank you very much. I get the honor of recognizing Dr. Spivey tonight, who I've known for a very long time because his daughter and I have gone to every school grade together, I believe. So we're honoring Dr. Spivey tonight because of his 35 years that he's served as medical director for the EMS program at the Kingsport Fire Department. So right about the time Haley and I were entering kindergarten, you started work here. So we really appreciate, and I think it just shows what an amazing job you've done and how loved that you are, that we have so many people here from the Kingsport Fire Department, recognition from the 911 Board, Todd Harrison from Dispatch is here. And so just really appreciate everything that you've done. And what I've got here is an accommodation from the City of Kingsport that I'm going to read, and then I'm going to turn it over to Chief Boyd, who's going to say a couple words. So whereas Dr. Mickey Spivey has served as medical director for the EMS program at the Kingsport Fire Department for 35 years and has served as medical director for Kingsport Central Dispatch for 37 years. And whereas not only has he served in the aforementioned roles for years, Spivey also served as medical director for Kingsport Lifesaving Crew and Sullivan County Dispatch Center for numerous years. And whereas Dr. Spivey has devoted countless hours interacting with each of these agencies and provided his expertise in medical preparation, protocols, and assistance. And whereas he exhibits a true servant's heart to Kingsport and this region, as he has performed all of this service on a volunteer basis. Now, therefore, Patrick W. Scholl, and the Kingsport Board of Mayor and Aldermen would like to recognize and commend Dr. Mickey Spivey for his dedication and willingness to serve Kingsport. Our community is very fortunate to have such an honorable man making Kingsport a great place to live. So come on up, and I think you deserve a big hand. So the paper is kind of cool, but I believe Chief Boyd has something a little cooler.
Thank you very much. Come on over here. I wrote down a few things. Thank you for allowing us the time to be able to recognize Dr. Spivey for what he's done. And I had a few notes just to kind of put it in perspective. I'll do those very quickly. In fact, he's 35 years as the medical director for the Kingsport Fire Department. He's the only one we've ever had. We've never had another medical director at the department whatsoever. And he provides the oversight for the medical program. He also does what James was saying, plus he assures there's quality assurance in the program within the department itself. So he's our checks and balances, to say the least, within the department. In the history of the fire department, we were discussing it the other day, the fact that we've had 8 fire chiefs. Dr. Spivey has worked with 6 of those 8 since they've been there. And it's worth noting, I have my timeline right on this. He started in 1972 as a EMS provider out in the field, eventually moving to a emergency room physician, and all that in Kingsport. So he's served here in Kingsport that period of time as well. He's done dispatch. The other group that was loosely mentioned there is he also has ventured out. He is also part of the pre-hospital regulatory board for Sullivan County, been a part of that for many, many years. He served in these roles in a volunteer basis. We've never paid him anything. The only thing he's asked was the shirt. At one time, he saw the shirt and he said, I like that. Is there a chance we might be able to get one that says medical director? I said, we'll get you 2. Absolutely. So we were able to do that. You know, the other thing, he's retired recently, and the fact is he really didn't retire. Through COVID, he came out of retirement to assist Sullivan County Health Department in the issue for the COVID-19 pandemic and spent numerous hours there. A couple other things rather quickly is the fact of there's no doubt in my mind that because of this man right here, what he did in the emergency room, but more so what he did in the field with all those agencies, there are people that are alive that probably would have perished if it hadn't been for his intervention. So that right there is something to be extremely proud of and applaud for, no less. The other things I had written down, if you don't see him working at these agencies, which is most of the time, you're going to catch him out at cattails playing golf. That's his passion, to say the least, away from work. The other thing, too, is it's just on a personal note, it's nice to be able to call him a friend, and he's absolutely a friend to all of public safety within our region, not just Kingsport, but within the region. So with that, we've got a couple things for Dr. Spivey. We provide pins of years of service, 35 years with the Kingsport Fire Department. Thank you, sir. And then the one we were holding back just a touch here is, as I read this, it says, Medical Director Dr. Mickey Spivey, Kingsport Fire Department, 30 years plus for that. And that's for you, sir.
Wow, that's awesome.
Would you like to say
I wish I'd had that a few years ago.
I understand.
James, thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
Would you like to
Chief,
say
thank
anything?
you.
Absolutely. Thank you. And I told him the other day when I said we were going to recognize him 35 years, I'd like to get 35 more out of him if possible, but we appreciate everything that you've done.
Well, Chief, Mayor and Board, thank you. I don't know what else to say. It's hard to believe that it's been that long until I look at myself in the mirror every day, and it's pretty much a reality to, it sinks in. But, it's been a real honor, a great privilege, and actually a great pleasure to have served Kingsport Fire Department for 35 years. I look at these guys as great friends and great servants to the community. And I am very proud today to be able to know that I may have played a small role in the implementation and development of an advanced life support program for the city of Kingsport, which I have no doubt has touched the lives and saved the lives of many individuals. So I'm very thankful for all of that. But I'm also thankful for Kingsport you know, the Kingsport way has kind of been to lead. And when it comes to providing emergency care for the people, the citizens of Kingsport, Kingsport has always led. You kind of look back at the fire department. You could go back 74 years when you look at Chief C.M. Kenner. In his second year as fire chief, he recognized that there was a great need for some entity or some agency to provide emergency care to the sick and injured before they went to the hospital, or to provide rescue support for people in need. There were none. Chief Kenner at the time knew of a program in Roanoke, the Roanoke Lifesaving Crew. It was organized by Dr. Julian Wise. He made a contact to Dr. Wise and asked him to come to Kingsport. Dr. Wise came to Kingsport and was very impressed with the model city and with Chief Kenner, and agreed to help organize a similar organization for the city of Kingsport, the people of the region. With the help of Dr. Wise, the Kingsport Safety Council, and Chief Kenner, the Kingsport Lifesaving Crew was born. It became the first volunteer rescue agency in the state of Tennessee. Today, there's 115 other rescue squads and over 5,000 volunteer rescue members that are members of the TARS, all because of Chief Kenner's efforts to do so. We can fast forward a little bit. We kind of go up to the mid-'80s. We kind of look at a time in our lives when we were rebounding from some bad economic times, high prices, a lot of inflation, interest rates absorbing, in times where many of people were having to work 2 jobs or more to try to even survive. That played a significant role in our volunteers' ability to provide service and stuff for the people, for the lifesaving crew, for the city of Kingsport. What happened at that? Otherwise, in that time, we were seeing the American Heart Association trying to reach out to us in the emergency departments to try to do things that we could to improve response times, because, you know, getting electricity to somebody in cardiac arrest was shown to save lives. And that time meant muscle, and that it worked. The American Trauma Society, the American College of Surgeons, in time of the trauma programs, the golden hours, where it was so important for rapid response. But yet we were seeing times where we were struggling to meet some of those needs because of the challenges to our volunteers. Who steps up? Kingsport Fire Department steps up. You know, Chief Caldwell at that time, you know, I guess we're looking at situations where many cities were actually evaluating the fire departments. What should they do with the fire departments? Should they proceed to keep them there as they were? Were they going to change, go different routes? Many of the fire departments chose to go to public safety officers. Chief Caldwell had the insight to decide that instead of doing that, the Kingsport Fire Department would step up and to try to help meet the needs of the medical community and the people there, and to provide first responder services for the city of Kingsport. Initially, they started to do this as answering priority calls, life-threatening calls, cardiac arrest, respiratory arrest, those type of things where death was imminent. That worked well, and before long, it became evident that they could really assist the citizens of Kingsport even further. And they began to then respond on all emergency medical calls inside the city of Kingsport. By about 1992, Chief Caldwell felt like that it was time for the program to advance to another level, and wanted to take steps to develop an advanced life support paramedic program with the goal of putting a paramedic on every pumper in the city of Kingsport. Great challenge at the time, okay? But with the blessings of this board, it was approved. And it began to send the first class of Kingsport EMTs, soon to be paramedics, in 1993, with the first class graduating in 1994. At that time, Chief Caldwell retired and kind of handed over the mantle to Chief John Mosier, who went full blast ahead at that time. We put defibrillators on all the fire trucks in the city of Kingsport. The first class was graduating, but we were unable to put a paramedic on every every fire truck. It took another year, but finally, in 1995, the second class of paramedics from the fire department graduated. And at that time, we were able to put a paramedic, a highly skilled, highly trained paramedic, on every pumper in the city of Kingsport. Phenomenal accomplishment. If you look back at that time, we did that, the city of Kingsport did that 1 year ahead of Los Angeles County and 2 years ahead of San Francisco Fire. Pretty high competition, but we were able to do that again with support of you guys. Obviously, since then, Chief White, Chief Dye, and Chief Boyd have continued with this program, and it has turned into an amazing success for the city of Kingsport. You know, today, the fire department is not only a world-class fire protection agency, but is also a world-class advanced life support agency that provides protection to the citizens of Kingsport 24/7, 365. You know, none of this would have been possible without the men and women of the fire department, the leadership of the fire department, and leadership of the city of Kingsport. You guys, because of your support through all these years, standing strong for our citizens, have made it possible. And you have allowed your leaders to create a program that helps provide our citizens with the best chance they have at survival if they ever face a major medical or traumatic emergency. To you, I'm eternally grateful. On a more personal note, sorry, it's a little bit hard. You know, I have been involved for almost 50 years, been a major part of my life. And as the chief said, you know, I started at 18 years old at Fire Station 2. Some of the best times of my life, guys, have been with you all. I appreciate it. I appreciate the relationships. The experiences have been invaluable. And I am so grateful that we live in a place that we have so many wonderful people that are willing to risk their lives on a daily basis to help others. I salute you. I thank you. God bless you and Godspeed, and thank you all.
Hey, Mickey, that fire axe might be a good putter, you know? Mr. City Manager, please proceed.
Thank you. Our next recognition will be led by Vice Mayor George, and this is for us in receiving the Tennessee Public Works Association Project of the Year. And I'd ask Ryan McReynolds and members of his team if they join the Vice Mayor at the podium, please.
If I got to present the axe, then we could actually see the fire department at work. And Mickey would get to show some of his skills. And that's why they only let us hold the plaque. So I am very honored to be up here to receive the Project of the Year award from Public Works. We were unbelievably fortunate to receive this last year for the Miracle Field. And you know we have to have a project beyond all projects to get it a second year. And we did that with City Hall. And there's a lot of people here to thank. I have a script. They don't think I stay on it. But of course I'm going to. Each year the top project in Tennessee is submitted to the American Public Works Association, and we won the last year with the Miracle Field. The merits of this award have been consistent throughout the project. The customers, how do we present ourselves to our citizens and those that we do business with? Consolidation, how can we do what we are doing more efficiently, moving multiple buildings all into one building? Collaboration, how can we do what we do more efficiently? This project encompassed all of those. And the team behind this was the city. Don Melton was our project manager. Payne Rash West with Clinton Roberts and Deneen West. Our construction partner was Travis Brooks. And, you know, Ryan wrote these, so of course he didn't say that he was great. I would have written that in if it was me, but he did not. And, you know, when this project came, first of all, you had to convince us that this was a smart thing to do, which was not easy. And he went through a lot of time showing us all the benefits, the cost savings, why this was good for the people of Kingsport. He also took on this project with working, we had great people to work with, but he worked with all these people. And I mean, I did a little building next door, and I know the time it took, and I had some of these same great people. But, you know, he was asked to do this and continue with everything else he normally does, which either means he really doesn't have enough to fill his time normally, or he went way above and beyond. And I'm going to go with, since we're receiving this, that he went way above and beyond. And I want to really thank you because, you know, all of you guys, is this not the coolest space ever? Did anybody envision that this would be City Hall? I mean, you know, think about where we came from and how impressive this is. And I mean, we are just so fortunate, and I thank all of you all. And when we have a plaque, that you get to stand there. So, do y'all want to say anything?
Well, I will say just a second. Colette is very nice reflecting that back on us, but quite honestly, to push out on a project like this, it takes a lot of guts for a board. And to be able to take the data and to absorb it and to move forward, it really is a reflection of the past boards and the present board that has got us here. This was a fun project. She said I did a lot. Quite honestly, the reason Chris gave it to me was because I'm pretty lazy, and Dawn did everything. Trust me, if you're in here, you know that she did everything. This was a tough project to deliver, and the time period we delivered it because of COVID. And really having Cane Rash West and Construction Partners was a great combination. They worked very hard to make sure stuff got delivered and make adjustments and to keep everyone moving forward. So they did a fabulous job. And it really, what we want to do with this project is reflect the high quality of the citizens of Kingsport. We really feel like as you come into this space to pay taxes, to pay your water bill, to do business with Kingsport, it should reflect the high quality that these citizens deserve. It's their building. So we are very appreciative of the board moving us forward in this and very much appreciative of the team. So thank you all.
Thank you, Ryan, and it truly reflects a team effort between the city staff and your private sector partners, and I know we're all impressed that the city of Kingsport received this award 2 years in a row now. That hasn't been done in the state before, has it? No.
It has not, and let me bail Ryan out here. Sitting in the back of the room is Sheila Catron, who put these applications together 2 years in a row for us, and did an outstanding job of selling both the projects, going back to the Miracle Field a year ago, and then also with City Hall. And so, Sheila, thank you for the work that you've done and continue to do to bail Ryan out.
Okay. Well, we've got a lot of business. Mr. City Manager, please proceed.
All right, we have appointments to 3 boards on the agenda tonight, and as we discussed last night, we're going to approve these with one motion, but I will first go through each of those. The first is an appointment to the Kingsport Housing and Redevelopment Authority. It's recommended to reappoint Seth Jervis to that. Second one is an appointment to the Emergency Communication District E911 Board, and it's recommended there to appoint Jeff Fleming. And then the third one is an appointment to the Public Art Committee, and it's recommended to reappoint Joshua Reed and to appoint Jennifer Adler and Deborah Mullins. So we would ask that you approve the appointments to the KHRA 911 Board and the Public Art Committee with one motion, unless there's any objection.
I make a motion that we accept the recommendations.
Thank you. It was moved to approve this in one motion by the Vice Mayor and seconded by Alderman. Alderman, is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All three sets of appointments pass with unanimous vote. Please proceed.
Now move to the approval of the minutes. We have the minutes from the work session on November 1, 2021, and the business meeting on November 2nd, 2021. We'd ask that you approve these minutes as submitted, please.
Thank you. Two sets of minutes. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Alderman. Is there a second? Second by Alderman Duncan. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The two sets of minutes both pass with a 6-0 vote. Mr. City Manager, I see we have no public hearings, and we go right into citizen comment.
On agenda items.
Citizens may speak on agenda items. So let me remind you, those are the items that we deliberate and vote on tonight. There's another portion in our proceedings in which you can comment on items of general civic interest. But again, citizens may speak on agenda items. When you come to the podium, please state your name and address and sign the register that is provided. You're encouraged to keep your comments non-personal in nature, and they should be limited to 5 minutes. A total of 30 minutes is allocated for public comment during this part of the agenda. Are there any citizens that would like to come forward and speak on an agenda item? If not, I declare this part of our proceedings to be closed, and Mr. City Manager, please continue.
All right, first item for consideration is the consideration of a budget adjustment ordinance for various funds in fiscal +22. As we discussed last night, this not only receives money, but is also moving dollars around, closing out projects and moving those dollars. Probably the most noticeable thing that you'll see set up here is the receiving a check in the amount of $1.5 million. This was part of the opioid settlement. As you will recall, it's been probably over a month ago, we had a very good presentation from several local judges regarding some of the regional efforts surrounding this. And at this point, I know those conversations are continuing. In fact, I saw in the newspaper today where that conversation was continuing in Carter County just the other day. So unless there's any questions, we'd ask that you approve this budget ordinance, please.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
Projects, special revenue, and general fund budgets for the year ending June 30, 2022, and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by the Vice Mayor. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes 6-0. Mr. City Manager, let me do my standard pitch here to our citizens in the audience out there in TV land and elsewhere. If it appears that we are speeding through some of these as the night progresses, we're really not. Every member of the board has met with the city manager one-on-one and gone over these items in detail. After that, we met together as a group in a work session. We're not allowed to vote in a work session, but we can discuss the items again in greater detail, specificity. And that leads us up to the night, and we can deliberate and have discussion if we think it's needed. But otherwise, we're pretty familiar with the items we're voting on, and therefore, things tend to move quickly. So with that, please proceed.
All right, we have 4 items that are up for final adoption. Go through the first one. First is to appropriate $25,907 from the Department of Justice, Office of Justice Programs, Fiscal '21 Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistant Grant Program. We'd ask that you approve this budget ordinance on second and final reading, please.
Thank you. And we have at least 4 second readings, which in parliamentary procedure requires us to have a roll call vote. But first, Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance to amend the Justice Assistant Grant Fund budget by appropriating grant funds received from the U.S. Department of Justice for the year ending June 30, 2022, and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Alderman Duncan. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by the Vice Mayor. Any discussion? If not, Madam Recorder, please take the vote.
Alderman Cooper. Aye. Alderman Duncan.
Aye.
Vice Mayor George.
Aye.
Alderman Alterman.
Aye.
Alderman Phillips.
Aye.
Mayor Schul.
Aye, the item passes 6-0. Next item.
Next item is to appropriate $8,450 from the U.S. Department of Justice, Office of Justice Programs, Fiscal 21 Bulletproof Vest Partnership Funding. And again, we ask that you approve this on second and final reading, please.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance to amend the General Projects Special Revenue Fund budget by appropriating grant funds received from the U.S. Department of Justice for the year ending June 30, 2022, and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. Before I ask for a motion, Mr. City Manager, didn't you tell me, or maybe Chief Phipps told me, that the bulletproof vests do have a life, that they run out of life?
Yeah, they do. They have a shelf life, if you will, and each year we aim to replace some of those, and this grant is one of the ways we do that.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
I did.
Oh, okay, good. Do I hear a motion to approve? So moved. Moved by Alderman Phillips. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Cooper. Any discussion? If not, please take the vote.
Alderman Cooper. Aye. Alderman Duncan.
Aye.
Vice Mayor George.
Aye.
Alderman Alterman.
Aye.
Alderman Phillips.
Aye.
Mayor Schul.
Aye, the ordinance passes with a 6-0 vote. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is amending code section 98-530 relating to impounding vehicles. And again, we'd ask that you approve this ordinance on second and final reading, please.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
To amend the Code of Ordinances, City of Kingsport, Tennessee, Section 98-530, relating to traffic and vehicles, impoundment of vehicles, and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Alderman Duncan. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Phillips. Is there any discussion? If not, please take the vote.
Alderman Cooper. Aye. Alderman Duncan.
Aye.
Vice Mayor George.
Aye.
Alderman Alterman.
Aye.
Alderman Phillips.
Aye.
Mayor Schul.
Aye, it passes 6-0. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is a budget adjustment ordinance for the General Project Fund and General Project Special Revenue Fund for fiscal '22. And again, we'd ask that you approve this on second and final reading.
And again, I would appreciate the Friends of the Public Library donating toward these particular projects. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance to amend the General Project Fund and General Project Special Revenue Fund budgets for the year ending June 30, 2022, and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by the Vice Mayor. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Duncan. Any discussion? Please take the vote.
Alderman Cooper.
Aye.
Alderman Duncan.
Aye.
Vice Mayor George.
Aye.
Alderman Alterman.
Aye.
Alderman Phillips.
Aye.
Mayor Schul.
Aye, the ordinance passes on the 6-0 vote at second reading, final adoption. Please proceed.
Next item is approval of a lease agreement for space at 225 West Center Street to create Appalachia. Last night, John Rose, our Economic Development Director, walked through presentation with you all during our work session where we described what we were looking to do here. Create Appalachia is a nonprofit that really specializes in the economic part of arts and really tries to work with young entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs no matter what age, but young in terms of maybe their interest in this area and providing them with resources that they can then utilize to hone their craft and then to take that from a concept and be able to move that forward to either a sale or a prototype, whatever that might be. This is something that we have been in discussions with for quite some time. We believe that this is a operation that will very much complement what we are doing with the Inventor Center, as well as what we have going on in the Academic Village. And again, this is kind of a year-to-year lease with 3-year max on that. As you all know, we are still kind of going through a process with the old City Hall now, as we still have the courts over there, and soon we'll be looking to renovate the second floor and other parts of the Justice Center to be able to move those over there. But during this time will give us an opportunity to kind of incubate this group and then we'll move forward with what their plans are and everything else in Kingsport at a later date. But I also want to recognize Heath Gwynn with Sync Space. Heath has been a major partner with Create Appalachia and has been very instrumental in bringing them to Kingsport. When you look at the spectrum of economic development, there's a lot of things that we talk about, whether it's industrial, as we did last night, talking with Clay Walker with Networks, but also when we talk about retail, when we talk about residential, and we talk about the fact that workforce development is also a key component of that. Then we look at this part of the economic development spectrum is extremely important as well, and just the diversity that it brings to your city. And so we're pleased to bring this to you, and we'd ask that you approve this lease.
Thank you, and there may be some comment, but let's first get the attorney to please publish.
A resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an interlocal agreement with Sullivan County to allow a lease agreement for the use of space at 225 West Center Street by Create Appalachia, to execute a lease agreement with Create Appalachia agreement for the use of space at 225 West Center Street, and to execute any and all documents necessary and proper to effectuate the purpose of the resolution.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Alderman. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by the Vice Mayor. Any discussion?
I'll just say.
Sure, James, go.
That last sentence, it's underlined there, but it really needs to be hit on. They are investing $400,000 in equipment, software, and furnishings. So that's no small investment. And so I think that's shows their commitment to this being successful here in Kingsport.
Good comment. And when I think about this, I've said several times in this forum and others that the city is not the lead in our economy. The private sector clearly is, but the city can play a very productive and useful role in promoting business and entrepreneurship. Mr. Alderman and I grew up in a period where it was clear that Kingsport was dominated by manufacturing, but life changed and we had to adapt, and it's to our best interest to have a more diverse economy. And I think this is a worthwhile endeavor, and to provide this kind of assistance on the part of the city, and it's at very modest cost, if any, to our taxpayers. So I'll vote in the affirmative. Any other discussion?
I just want to add one point. Vice Mayor brought this up. Their second part to this approval is through Sullivan County, do an interlocal agreement. Bart Rowlett has been working very closely with the county on this, and I believe we had everything kind of signed off with them yesterday, right? In terms of what the attorney was going to take before the county commission. Okay.
On that, will the county, before this lease goes into effect, the county commission will have to approve it also, or because of the way it's tied in, can it be approved just through the mayor or at the county level?
Madam Vice Mayor, the county would need to approve the interlocal agreement before we can execute the lease based on their ownership interest in the actual property itself.
Thank you. So I was looking for a date when I was looking through this lease, and so we're going to, as soon as that happens,
We'll execute it that
this will
point.
be executed at that point, and they will take possession at that point,
Yes, or shortly thereafter.
shortly thereafter.
Is it required to come before us again?
It should not. No, once you all, you're theoretically the first step, you're approving this, that sends a message. The Sullivan County, the city is willing to do this, and then the next step would be for them to approve the interlocal agreement. Third step would be for the execution of the lease, which would be done at staff level.
And this is open to anyone in this whole region. This is not,
Yes.
you're not a resident of Kingsport or of Sullivan County. This is open to anyone that wants to use this.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But it certainly doesn't impair or negatively affect the county operations that remain in that building?
Absolutely not, yeah.
Well, I appreciate the work, particularly from Mr. John Rose out here in the audience, and welcome Heath Gwynn, because I know you work with these groups very closely. Any other discussion?
Will the county commission, will you get the same presentation? I mean, will they know what they're, because until you did the presentation last night, I had no idea.
We can. I think really more of the presentation to the county is just going to be for the interlocal agreement to allow us to be able to do this. A similar thing could potentially happen if the county wanted to lease out, a portion of the building, over there on the first floor, that one side is empty. And so if they want to do something like that, they'd have to bring it to us as well. So happy to give that presentation. I think it's a story that we want to be able to tell. It's definitely a positive thing for us. It's unique. And definitely, as Alderman Phillips mentioned, when you're investing $400,000 into this and the equipment and technology that they are investing, it's second to none.
Potentially more, too.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, any more discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes 6-0. Next item.
Next item is approving a seal proposal from Assured Partners for excess workers' compensation insurance coverage. John Burkholder, our risk management manager, did a great job last night in his presentation to you all on this item, as well as the upcoming item as it pertains to our property insurance. And so we would ask that you approve this resolution.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
Resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with the Gray Insurance Company and Midwest Employers Casualty Company through Assured Partners for excess workers' compensation insurance, and authorizing the mayor to execute all documents necessary and proper to effectuate the purpose of the agreement.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Alderman Duncan. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Mayor. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes 6-0. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is approving a seal proposal from Mcgriff Insurance Services for property insurance covering city-owned buildings. Again, this was part of the presentation last night by John Burkholder, and part of the kind of semi-annual or annual thing that we are asked to do, and to bring this forward to you, and appreciate the work that he's done on that. Any questions?
I was amazed at how much insurance that we're going to have on our property. I mean, it's rather large, and I think it's well worthwhile.
Yeah.
Well, it also includes school property, right?
It does. It
Yes.
also includes school property, and, it's one of the things we talked about last night as we've moved into this building, also as we've taken over the former Sullivan North buildings, need to get a little bit more coverage there.
Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Mcgriff Insurance Services, Inc. and Travelers Insurance for the City of Kingsport property insurance, and authorizing the mayor to execute all documents necessary and proper to effectuate the purpose of the agreement.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Alderman Cooper. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Phillips. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes 6-0. Next item.
Next item is authorizing the mayor to execute a memorandum of understanding for the use of space at Boys and Girls Club of Greater Kingsport by the Kingsport City Schools. This comes to us from the Board of Education. They are asking to enter into a lease or an MOU for use of space at the Boys and Girls Club. This will allow for additional classroom space to accommodate needs they have for Core Cox. And so we'd ask that you all approve the resolution, please.
City Manager, compared to last year, the school population has actually grown some, hasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Attorney, please publish.
Resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a memorandum of understanding for the use of the space at Boys and Girls Club of Greater Kingsport's facility by Kingsport City Schools, and to execute any and all documents necessary and proper to effectuate the purpose of the resolution.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Alderman. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Duncan. Any discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes 6-0. Next item.
Next item is a resolution to approve 3 change orders above the contingency amount allocated for the Scott Adams Memorial Skate Park. As we discussed yesterday and kind of somewhat anticipated that one of the major things that we would deal with this site would be rock. And despite the work that we did with multiple core drillings and conversations kind of leading up, we still hit rock, especially as we were drilling for the light poles. It was one of those things is we either were going to see that part of the bid or we're going to have to come back and make adjustments to that through a change order. Appreciate the work that the staff has done and working very closely with GRC, who is the GC on this project, to get us to this point. I like to think at this point we're kind of out of the ground, if you will. At this point, we'll start pouring concrete, doing a lot of shotcrete work as we begin to kind of form the skate park. But again, I also want to thank the staff for identifying the funding. Much of the funding that has been identified for this was actually initially set aside for Cloud Park. And so in a roundabout way, it is going towards an element that was at Cloud Park. So we'd ask that you approve the resolution.
Thank you. Does this put us behind schedule? Does this affect your completion, projected completion?
We've added, I think this change order also adds 7 days to the total project. You know, this is a project that as we get into this time of year, weather will be a factor. And days like tomorrow when it's going to be upwards of 70 degrees is a great day to be out there. And if you've driven by the site, I've tried to go by there at least once a week. You see quite a bit of activities, and so they're taking advantage of the weather.
So we'll see the deputy city manager in the hard hat out there?
Don't think you'll see the deputy city manager. You might see the assistant city manager out there.
Okay. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution approving change orders numbers 212903, 212904, and 212905 to the contractor GRC Construction for changes to the new Scott Adams Memorial Skate Park improvements, and authorizing the mayor to execute the change order and all of their documents necessary and proper to effectuate the purpose of the resolution.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Alderman Duncan, seconded by the vice mayor. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes 6-0. Next item.
Now move into the consent agenda. We have 4 items on the agenda. I will read each one of those off. If you'd like one pulled for additional discussion or clarification, please let me know. The first is consent to subcontract work on behalf of Red Flex Traffic Systems, Inc. Second is amend the contract with Mark III to renew for 1 year. Third is to approve a lease agreement with Hope for space at Linview Community Center. And 4 is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an amendment to the agreement with St. Andrews Parish Parks and Playground Commission, doing business as E-Track, and terminating the parties' agreement.
Okay, and Mark III deals with employee benefits.
Correct. They are our third-party benefit coordinator.
Right, okay. Is there a motion to approve?
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman. Is there any discussion, or would anybody like to pull one or more items for further, or for separate vote? If not, Madam Recorder, please take the vote.
Alderman Cooper,
Aye.
Alderman Duncan,
Aye to all.
Vice Mayor George,
Aye to all.
Alderman Alterman,
Aye to all.
Alderman Phillips,
Aye to all.
Mayor Schul.
Aye to all, therefore, all 4 items pass with a 6-0 unanimous vote. Mr. City Manager.
All right, move into communications. Within your packet are 3 materials agreements that I have executed since our last meeting. Phase 2 and Phase 3 of Hunt's Crossing. That's located off of Moreland Drive. And then also a third one for Camus Yard, and that is infill development located off East Center Street. And so, again, we appreciate the board allowing these to be signed by myself in order to move those through much quicker. These are great new residential developments that we have in our city, and so they're just simply on here for communication to you all. And
Remind our citizens that we've granted you the authority to sign off on items of $50,000 or less.
correct. And so the only other thing that I have to relay to the board is just, once again, our thoughts and our prayers go out to the family of Lance Edwards, a member of our Public Works Department that unfortunately died last week. We definitely think right now about his family, his wife, and everything that they're going through. As we have said, unfortunately, too many times this year, we are a family, and we grieve together and we laugh together, and we're definitely grieving right now. So, thank you.
Thank you. Let me start with Alderman Duncan.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate it. Just a few items here. The DB Band competed in the Bands of America this past weekend, and they placed first in their class of AAA, and that included the best in music and the best overall visual. And out of 100 bands in the nation, they finished 8th in that competition with bands across the nation. So congratulations to Leif and staff and to the kids for their hard work, because everybody knows it's just it's a labor of love, especially for the staff and the kids. It's every month we have citizens that steps up to the plate to be on our boards across the city, and so I just want to take a moment just to thank them. They are, some of these boards a lot of people has never even heard of, but there's still people that wants to volunteer for many of these boards, and so we certainly do appreciate that. The Connect Kingsport app, I've used it over the last 2 or 3 weeks. I've used it a couple of times. I know that was presented to us maybe 6 or 8 months ago. And I just happened to look today, and I think there was 2,180 things that have been repaired on that. So people is using that. It works well. When you put something in, if you've used it, you get a response back pretty immediately. And then you'll get a follow-up response of we're working on it, we're looking at it, or it's repaired. And so that is it's so simple to use. It's got different categories that you can use you kind of drill down through, and then it separates it to whoever needed in our city. So it is a very good app to have. So I would recommend people just to download that. And then there's a number of things going on across the city, and I know Betsy will repeat it, talk about some of this too. So I think the next meeting, I guess, will be after the parade, I guess, which is the 4th. So appreciate it, and that's all I have.
Betsy.
Well, I went to a downtown Kingsport Association meeting this morning, and I got so excited I came home and took all my Thanksgiving decoration down and started putting Christmas up. There's something going on every week and almost daily downtown. The theme this year for the downtown activities is called Downtown for the Holidays, and you just missed last weekend the Sweet Treat and Drink Guide, but this Saturday on the 20th is a downtown history tour with Jeff Fleming. So you meet at, I think it's this says 1 o'clock, but I heard 2 o'clock. But there you meet, and Jeff's going to do like a 45-minute walk of downtown, talking about the history of downtown. November 27th, so holiday window walk and small business Saturday. December 4th is the big celebration. It's the Jingle and Mingle. They moved it from Thursday to Saturday. That's the day of the Christmas parade and the tree lighting. And there's activities going on all day downtown. Then on December 4th through January the 3rd, it's going to be Christmas in the Park, and we're going to light Glen Bruce Park up, and that it is going to be up till January the 3rd. December 11th is the last-minute local gift guide. Also, the Kingsport Library on the 11th is wrapping presents, so you can buy something downtown and take it to the library and they'll wrap it for you. December the 12th is a live nativity that First Baptist Church does. And if you haven't gone to that, it's really neat. You stay in your car and just drive through it, so then that's on the 12th. And then December 18th is the 12 Taste and More of Christmas. So check the Downtown Kingsport Association website for all these dates and get excited about being in our downtown. And also, we got an unexpected Christmas present with 2 gifts from Bays Mountain. So if you're looking for a Christmas present, these will be wonderful additions. I'm excited to go home and look at these. So,
The one in your left hand is for children, right?
yes, this is a children's, and I sit there and thumb through it. The illustrations or the pictures in here are unbelievable in both of these, so.
Well done. Very, very.
Oh, yeah, they are. They're just gorgeous. So, that could.
Celebrate the 50th year.
50th celebration of Bays Mountain and wonderful Christmas presents.
Is that it?
That's it.
Thank you. And Alderman Phillips.
All right. I didn't have much, but I have a couple of things. I do want to do a quick plug for the community survey. I think it's important that we get the citizens' feedback on how we best communicate with them and how they go about getting their information. So the survey went live today, and any Kingsport resident can do the survey. They just go to the city's website, and they can find the link there, and it'll be available through December 3rd, and it's a random survey. The random surveys went out today, but if you didn't receive a random survey, you can go online and fill that out. So I had that, and then when Chris mentioned something about all the materials agreements, it made me think, we keep mentioning all these 2,200 homes that are being built, and we talk about these, but it's really hard to put a visual with that. And so I would encourage anybody to go and follow Jeff Fleming on any type of social media, because over the last 2 weeks, he has been posting a location of a new housing community that's going in, pictures of what it's going to look like and the amount of homes. And he's been doing that for 2 weeks, showing all the new developments that are coming to Kingsport. So it's really interesting, and it helps you understand what kind of homes, where they're going, and everything. So I think that is kind of neat to follow along as he does that. Or I think he's probably posting it on Move to Kingsport as well. Other than that, I love living here. Everybody have a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. James. Tommy?
Well, I don't want to get behind this time. I made me a little list here. I want to also congratulate Dobbs Bennett's band. They won first in their division. And next of all, our basketball team at the high school, they seem to be ready to tear them up this year. So that's good. So if you don't have your season tickets, now would be a good time to get them.
Yeah, they picked to finish first in the conference.
Oh, yeah. They'll probably be up there in the state, too, when it's all said and done.
They got the talent. Yeah.
And then with Betsy, I got to see, are you sure you're going to do everything? Yeah,
I've got it under control.
you're a sweetheart. I guess that concludes my remarks.
Okay, thanks. Vice Mayor?
I want to tap on a little to what James had said about all the new developments. We see these every time we're up here. We're talking about some of the new developments. We're looking at the material agreements. We are working with these, and so we assume that everyone else kind of knows what's going on in the city or knows where some of these are. And when you get out in different groups, it amazes me how many people don't realize how many homes we have that are being built in Kingsport and the number of people that are trying to move into our region. I've had several people comment that have now seen the homes going up at the old Walmart site, and they were like, oh my gosh, who's going to live in these? Are they ever going to sell? And it's like they're already under contract. You know, we have lists of people that are trying to relocate to this area. And, you know, I think that ties in a little bit to Thanksgiving. We take a lot of the things we have for granted. I mean, the beautiful view, the sunset last night, the people.
Wow.
And the lights go off. This is a quiet moment to think, but close your eyes and think about sentimental. But, you know.
Still on TV.
You know, the people in Kingsport, we are so blessed. And I have a lot of people, it's, you know, and Daryl and I work with so many people trying to relocate here. And their comments are, you know, we drive down the road and people wave to us and we don't know a soul here. You know, this is the friendliest group of people. Everyone is nice to us. Everyone talks to us. If you're out walking your dog, 5 people stop and ask you about, you know, your dog or have a conversation. It's just like, how have you all not been discovered? How does everybody not know about this place? And it's not just beautiful here. I mean, we had a beautiful fall. But the people are just really fabulous people in this area. And we take it for granted that anywhere you go, people are going to be like they are here. And when you work with people coming in from other areas, every day I realize what a blessing it is to be in this community. And it's Thanksgiving, and I'm thankful to be here. And I'm thankful for, you know, the education system, for Bays Mountain, for our Parks and Rec, for our new houses. And as I said, there are so many people that want these houses that are just, as I said, they're selling a lot quicker than you think. So I hope people do follow Jeff, because a lot of times if you drive the same way every day and you go to the same shops, you don't go by these new developments and you don't realize what all great is happening in Kingsport. So I hope everybody takes the time over the holidays when you're out going downtown and you're doing all this great stuff to look around at what all's happening in Kingsport.
So Jeff's on social media?
Apparently. Oh.
I'm surprised.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Oh, and be sure to drive by Allendale, because they have taken all the shrubs down and put up new shrubs, and it's decorated for Christmas and looks fabulous. I'm through.
Okay, Tommy has
I
another
got
one.
my membership badge on today.
Okay,
Very
I'm a member of the board here.
the board.
Okay.
One comment to kind of follow that there. For the month of October, we had 89 new families come in just the month of October. And so that was from 29 different states.
But I like to be an agent now.
So it's,
Well, you need more houses. We're trying to build them quick, but it is. It's,
So, I mean,
people
it's
don't
pretty amazing.
realize that,
I like
how
to be an
many it
agent.
is.
I like to sell that stuff.
Get your license and come on.
Okay, is it my turn?
It's your turn.
All right, I saved this copy of the Times News from Sunday, this past Sunday, November 14th, because I was fascinated by this particular article. Readers respond to Rush Street closure. Now, I'm not going to read off every one of these comments, and I'm not going to mention any names, but I can't get over it. Let me start with the summary. Most of the comments are negative. Some are sarcastic, some are cynical. Some they're kind of vague. They talk about they and we, and I'm not sure who they and we they're referring to. Now, there are 2 positive comments that I would like to talk about. Essentially, I feel like these 2 people do, that they praised the restaurant for being a great restaurant. It was a family-owned restaurant for 41 years. That is an accomplishment in and of itself in this day and age in particular. And another person indicated they were happy for the family who sold the restaurant. I'm happy for them also. The paper in a previous article quoted from a public document that how much money they got for this. I mean, these people are well past retirement age. They deserve a great retirement. I am happy for them. This is natural for businesses to change ownership. Now, the public document also indicated that they sold to a corporation that builds car washes, and that's become kind of a running joke. But if someone can tell me what the optimum number of car washes is in a city, I'd love to hear that. There is no optimum number. It's whatever the market will bear. Do people expect the city to tell people, no, you can't build a car wash, we're at our limit? We don't do that. That's called central planning, and over 70 years of the Soviet Union, we found out that that fails. We don't have a communist system. You don't want the government to be in charge of those kind of intricate decisions about what people do with their lives and their business. So there seems to be a theme here where there's a lack of understanding about how a free market economy works. We don't tell these people that what to build as long as it conforms to the zoning, and zoning is very traditional, and it prevents somebody from putting a car wash next to your house. So the city government does not try to dictate to people about these things. This is not a bad thing. There's nobody at fault here. This is just simply the workings of the market. And then there's some remarks that are generally critical of our city. They say things like, it's a failed city, or we're failing. Well, what does that mean? The city is not this building or the streets or stores or other businesses. The city is people. If you're running down Kingsport, you're running down your fellow citizens, and a lot of them don't like it. Now, if you have sincere, genuine questions about how things work, I am here to answer as best I can. And if I can't answer, I can get people to help you understand. But this is not some kind of tragedy that, and my colleagues here have pointed out several positive things are ongoing right now. The city is not failing, exactly the opposite. The census shows we're growing. Alderman Duncan just mentioned there were 89 families that moved here last month. Two of our largest industries, Eastman and Domtar, are in the not too distant future opening up new product lines here. Someone commented, well, there's not things for kids to do. Hello, we have Bays Mountain Park, we have an aquatic center, we have the Miracle Field, we're building a brand new skate park, and the city manager and his staff can go on and explain all these things. We've pointed out just tonight how the city is not in charge of the economy, but we do assist people, we do help promote things. I'm looking at John Rose, our Director of Economic Development. He's constantly helping small businesses get started and answering questions and pointing out things to them and making them aware of things. He's a very proactive person, but that is like lots of people on this city staff. If you want to get involved in the city rather than whine about something, why don't you start a business instead of relying on they or we? And as Alderman Phillips pointed out, James, we've got a community survey in progress right now. Get it off your chest. Tell us what you think. But understand, there's no one at fault here. There's nothing bad that happened. This is a growing, vibrant city full of wonderful people, just like the vice mayor just said. When you run down your city, you're criticizing your neighbors. Happy Thanksgiving.
Amen.
So, at this point, citizens may speak on issue-oriented items. When you come to the podium, please state your name and address and sign the register that is provided. You're encouraged to keep your comments non-personal in nature, and they should be limited to 5 minutes. At this time, anyone who would like to approach the board, please, sir, please come on up and sign in, and for the record, state your name and address. And did I point out, we have not only the most wonderful band in the world, we also have a highly rated school system within the state and nation.
Which is great.
I'm going to rule you out. Yes, sir.
Okay, I am Dr. David Fagerberg. I've spoken here before. I don't remember exactly how many meetings ago it was, but I shared a number of concerns and suggestions, things for the general welfare and for general hygiene improvement in the city and such. And I mentioned three things. One of them was better, more trash receptacles to keep things clean so that you wouldn't have as much to clean up, that we could already take care of that on an ongoing basis. Hand washing stations that would improve things. That got kind of derailed by the pandemic somehow. And then the need for more public restrooms. I'm here tonight on behalf of a lot of volunteers to say thank you very much. The hand washing stations appeared, and almost as if by magic, they are very much appreciated. We really appreciate it. Now, we recognize that when the weather gets nastier than it is right now, there's danger to the equipment. If the water freezes in the hand washing stations, that's a bad thing. And it will take, it can totally destroy the equipment. But we recognize also that they'll need to be removed, but they'll come back when the weather cooperates. I wanted to also mention on the restroom thing, there's a park near the George Washington Apartments, used to be a school. That's a place that might benefit being looked at for putting some public restrooms because there are a lot of people that congregate there. Also, the skate park, I would think, as if I saw correctly when I was going around a while back, I don't think there's a public restroom there at the skate park at all. That might be a really great place to have one, since we're anticipating that we're going to have a lot of people come and use that. So just a couple of suggestions. And I wanted to do two things. Once, I want to reiterate thank you, our gratitude for those hand washing stations. And then I wanted to issue an invitation for anybody that wants to come and serve at Kitchen of Hope and help feed hungry people. We do that Monday through Saturday, 3:30 to 5 o'clock. Of course, there's some preparation time in advance of that. Sometimes people will be showing up at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. But that's a great opportunity to see some of the people that have some needs that we can serve and that we can help. So I extend that invitation. And once again, thanks very much for the hand washing stations. Greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other citizens that wish to approach the board? If not, our meeting's adjourned.
Thank you for joining us tonight for the Kingsport BMA meeting. This program has been a production of the City of Kingsport in cooperation with Milligan Productions, Milligan University, and Charter Communications. For more information, visit kingsporttn.gov.